So the 3-5-2 has become one of the most overpowered formations in FIFA this year, with everyone and their mother using it and pros creating a lot of tactics about it. Unfortunately, with FIFA, every single player has to make each formation as defensive as possible, and this formation can be very defensive. You have 3 center backs, a left and right mid that come back on defense and play like a left and right back, 2 defensive mids, and arguably a center attacking mid who drops in to defend as well. So there's 2 things you can do. One, you could just quit and then not have these scum bumps piss you off while you play FIFA, but I have a feeling you don't want that option, so option 2 is to use these tactics to help break down these defensive scumbums. The formation we're using is the 4-3-2-1, and there's a few reasons why this is really good against 3 at the back or 5 at the back formations. For one thing, your 3 opponents' center backs are going to be occupied by your 3 attackers, meaning it's virtually a 1v1 for all of your attackers. Now, the attacking AI is the worst it's ever been, but the defensive AI is arguably even worse, with defenders just running for no particular reason to go mark someone. So in the very slight chance that your attacking player actually makes a diagonal run, then most likely someone is going to be open. Along with this, and we'll get into the specifics later on, but your center mids are sometimes going to be making runs forward, also with your left and right backs bombing up the field, meaning that you're going to have 7 players in the attack for you. Now that may seem like overkill, but that's exactly what's needed when you have to come up against someone using 3 at the back because it's attacking. No, it's not. So with that in mind, we'll go over the tactics, the instructions, and then the types of players you're going to want, starting first with the tactics. So here are the tactics, and this is kind of what's needed sometimes when you're coming across someone who's very park the bus and very organized. You have to have a little bit of some free roam and free range stuff for your attackers so they can move around and not be stuck into one particular set of things. Instructions, not things. There we go. For the defense, we have the defensive style on balance, the width at 40, and the depth at 65. Now, while this is a very fun formation, it's usually one that I use just against 3 at the back or 5 at the back formations, so I don't think it's necessarily the best defensive formation, especially because we're sending a bunch of people forward. But again, this is about breaking down 3 at the back and 5 at the back formations. We're focused on the attack in this particular case. For the offense, we have the build at play at balance, chance creation at balance, width at 45, players in the box at 6, and then corners and free kicks. Of course, you can do what you want. Now, I highly recommend that your build at play stay at balance, but for the chance creation, I have tried forward runs and direct passing, and both of those do have their place. There are a few times, like if your opponent has a very high line, that it's not very good because then your players are always going to be offside. So depending on what your opponent does, whether they're sitting really deep or they have a high line, then you have to decide whether or not balanced or forward run / direct passing is the way to go. For players in the box at 6, we've talked about this before. I just feel like 6 for players in the box is always the best option, because if it's too much, everyone is going to be getting way too far forward and not giving you a lot of breathing room, where if there's not enough people forward, then you're not going to have a lot of attacking options to actually break down the defense. And so that's it for the tactics, and I know that was pretty generic besides the chance creation, whether it's balance, forward runs, direct passing, or whatever that may be. But again, I think it's more about the instructions that are important in this case, because it dictates where your players are going to be on an individual basis, which again, I think is a little bit better. So starting with the defense, the goalie is on sweeper keeper, comes for crosses, the 2 center backs are on default everything, and then the left and right back are actually on join the attack. I feel as though on join the attack, they actually get forward more compared to balanced, and obviously stay back while attacking, but we do need these guys up the field so then they can occupy your opponent's left and right mids, who again are essentially playing left and right back. Again, it's about creating 1v1, so then that way it's not just a complete overload for your opponent's defense. For the midfield, we have the central center mid on stay back while attacking, cover center. Then we have the left and right center mids on balanced everything and cover center as well. Now, I have tried the left and right center mids on cover wing, which is the default, and sometimes it's worked, sometimes it hasn't. If your opponent is using maybe a little bit more of a narrow 5 at the back or 3 at the back formation, then it could be better to do cover center. So for example, the 3-5-2 that we're talking about right now, that would be good for cover center. But in the off chance they're using a different 3 at the back or 5 at the back formation, then cover wing could be good. But typically I've found for the 3-5-2, cover center does seem to work the best. And then finally for the attack, for our striker, we have stay central, stay forward. And then for our left and right forwards, we have them both on get in behind and drift wide. So let's start with the striker. I have tried them on mixed attack, get in behind, target man, and false 9. I have found that get in behind is not necessarily the best, especially again if your opponent is playing a very high line, because they always get caught offside. Whereas for target man and false 9, I have found success using these. I do feel as though mixed attack or balance is probably the best option, but don't be afraid to change things up in the game and go target man or false 9. Now for the left and right forwards, this drift wide instruction is going to be very important for a couple of reasons. For one thing, when they do drift wide, they will eventually come back inside when you are in your final third. They don't just go out and play on the wing. wing, which means you have more of a chance for those diagonal runs across the defense, which can confuse your opponent's defensive AI, which is, again, very unlikely because the attacking AI in this game is just god-awful, but a 1% chance is still better than a 0% chance. The other thing is that it gives space for your center mids to make runs forward. That way, there's not a lot of space that is going to be preoccupied and congested. This way, they go out wide far enough so then the center mids are not going to be in their way, but they don't go so far out that the left and right backs who are on join the attack are not impeded either. Essentially, you're going to have 6 or arguably 7 players all forward, almost all in a line, while your central center mid, who even though he is on stay back while attacking, will not necessarily go forward, but will provide an outlet. So essentially, you're going to have 8 people up the field. Now, I know this is a very attacking formation, but that is exactly what's needed if your opponent is using a very defensive 3-5-2. This is what helps break them down. Finally, we're going to be talking about the types of players that you're going to be wanting in these positions. When it comes to the center backs and the goalkeeper, whoever you like should be good enough. When it comes to the left and right backs, most of the time, whoever you like should be good enough, but I would recommend maybe a more complete, more modern fullback. So Acuna here, who can shoot, who can pass, who can dribble, that'll be good. Frimpong here, he can't really shoot, and while he won't be shooting all the time, there have been situations where he did find himself getting a shot, and because his shooting is not good, he did not finish it. For your central center mid, you obviously want a little bit more defensive capability, someone who can still go forward, but has an emphasis on the defending. Now for this next part, I'm going to lump in the rest of the players, which is your left and right center mid, and then everyone in the attack. For these guys, you want quick players who can dribble, because this is going to be a very congested area. Again, we're trying to spread out people as much as possible, but sometimes they do get in each other's way. And along with that, your opposition is obviously having a lot of people back. So you have to make these quick passes, these quick turns, so that you can spot runs if they are open, or you can just, make these quick passes so you don't turn the ball over. So for example, Harry Kane in at striker, who's not very good at dribbling, who moves like a truck, that's someone who's not going to be very good in this case. Everyone else has a lean body type and has very good dribbling. Diaby, Bernardo Silva, Nakata, Muniayan, all of them have lean body types, very, very good dribbling, boosted dribbling with whatever chem style I have on them, so in that way they can be as quick and as sharp as possible. Now more specifically for each position, for example the left and right center mids, you want a little bit more of a complete player, but an emphasis on attacking. And then for everyone in the attack, again, as long as they are quick, they have a lean body type, they are very good at dribbling, all of that should be good enough, and you should be good enough for those positions. So that is going to do it for this video, guys. If you do have any questions over the 4-3-2-1, how to use it, when to use it, let me know in the comments down below. But like I said, that is going to do it. Thank you guys so much for watching. This has been DMG. Peace.